$4,200. That is what the scratch on a Porsche Cayenne GTS is about to cost you. Not the car, the scratch. A single hairline mark 11 inches long running diagonally across the driver's side rear quarter panel of a $131,400 vehicle parked in a driveway worth more than most people's retirement accounts. The homeowner's name is Gerald Kessler. He is 63 years old, retired from running a private equity fund in Chicago, and he moved to Paradise Valley, Arizona, 14 months ago because his cardiologist told him the stress would kill him before 70. Right now, standing in his circular driveway, with the morning sun turning the aventurine green metallic paint into a mirror, Gerald Kessler does not look like a man whose stress levels have improved. "I'm going to put this on every review site I can find," he says. His voice is calm, which is worse than yelling. Google, Yelp, Nextdoor. The Paradise Valley Community Facebook group. You know how many people in this zip code use that group? You know exactly how many. You built half your client list from that group. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. You glance at it. It is a text from Derek, your crew lead. 2 morning appointments just cancelled. Both said they saw something on Nextdoor. What's going on? You have 6 employees, 3 specially outfitted vans, 214 recurring customers who trust you with vehicles worth a combined $14.8 million. You did $508,000 in revenue last year. And right now, standing in this driveway at 7:41 in the morning, with the temperature already pushing 91 degrees, you can feel all of it sliding. Here is what Gerald Kessler does not know. You did not make that scratch. And here is what you do not know yet. The person who did make it is someone you trust completely. And the way you handle the next 72 hours will either cement your reputation or destroy 3 years of work. But we will get to that. First, we need to go back to the beginning. 3 years before Gerald Kessler's Porsche, you are Ryan Matsuda. You are 27 years old. You work as a service advisor at Larry H. Miller Toyota in Mesa, Arizona, and you make $51,400 a year, $38,200 base, plus commissions on service upsells. You're not bad at the job. You're not great at it either. You're the kind of employee who shows up on time, hits quota 7 months out of 12, and spends lunch breaks on your phone watching car detailing videos on YouTube. Your personal truck is a 2019 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro in cement gray. You bought it used with 31,000 miles for $34,800 2 years ago. The monthly payment is $487. It is the nicest thing you own, and you treat it accordingly. Every Sunday morning, you wash it in the parking lot of your apartment complex at 6 a.m. before the Arizona heat turns the pavement into a griddle. You clay bar it once a month. You hand apply Meguiar's Ultimate Liquid Wax. The paint looks better than it did when it rolled off the factory floor, and the other service advisors at the dealership give you grief about it constantly. Matsuda details his truck more than he details his life. Your co-worker Brian says at least once a week. Everyone laughs. You laugh too, because it is true. Your apartment is a 1-bedroom in a complex off Southern Avenue. Rent is $1,340. You have $4,200 in savings, $11,800 left on a student loan from Arizona State, where you studied business administration and graduated with a 2.9 GPA that has never once come up in a job interview. You are not broke, but you are not building anything either. You're in that holding pattern that a lot of 27-year-olds in the Phoenix metro find themselves in, employed, housed, insured through work, and vaguely aware that this is not the trajectory you imagined when you were 19. The thing about working at a car dealership is that you see money flow in a very specific way. A customer drives in for a $49.95 soil change and drives out having spent $1,400 on new brakes, a cabin air filter, and a transmission flush they probably did not need for another 20,000 miles. The dealership's service department does $3.2 million a year. Your cut of that, after commissions, is 51 grand. The math never stops bothering you. It happens on a Thursday in March. A customer named Phil Brewer brings in his 2023 Tundra for a 30,000-mile service. While you're writing up the work order, he looks across the service bay at your Tacoma parked in the employee lot. "That yours?" he asks. "Yeah. How does it look like that? I've had mine for 2 years, and it already looks like I drove it through a sandblaster." Arizona will do that. The UV exposure, the dust storms, the mineral-heavy water from the sprinklers at every strip mall parking lot. Paint in Phoenix deteriorates faster than almost anywhere in the country. "I detail it myself," you say, "every week." Phil Brewer looks at his Tundra, then back at your Tacoma. "Would you do mine? I'll pay you whatever you want." You almost say no. You have no business license, no insurance, no formal training beyond YouTube videos, and a borderline obsessive personality. But Phil Brewer is holding his credit card like he is ready to swipe it right now. And the number that comes out of your mouth is $200. "Done," he says, without even asking what that includes. The following Saturday, you detail Phil Brewer's Tundra in the parking lot of your apartment complex. You use your own supplies, the same bucket, wash mitt, clay bar, and wax you use on your Tacoma. It takes you 4.5 hours. The Arizona sun is brutal by noon, and you learn your first lesson about mobile detailing in the desert. You either start at dawn or you suffer. When you text Phil the finished photos, he responds in 11 seconds. "Holy S! This looks brand new!" He posts the before and after photos on the East Mesa Next Door group that evening. His caption: "My service advisor at Larry Miller Toyota details cars on the side. $200, worth every penny. DM me for his number." By Sunday night, you have 9 messages from strangers asking about your availability. You respond to all of them from your couch, your thumbs moving fast, quoting prices you're making up in real time. $150 for a sedan, $200 for a truck or SUV. You do not know if these prices are right. You do not know if you can fit 9 details into your weekends. You do not know anything, really. But your hands smell like Maguire's Gold Class, and there is $200 cash on your kitchen counter. And for the first time in years, the holding pattern feels like it has a crack in it. Over the next 6 weeks, you detail 14 vehicles on Saturdays and Sundays. You work from 5:30 a.m. to avoid the worst of the heat, and you are usually finished by 1 p.m. Average ticket, $171. Total revenue, $2,394. Total expenses on supplies, $340. Net, $2,054. You are making more per hour detailing cars in parking lots than you make advising on brake jobs at a dealership. The equipment situation is not sustainable, though. You are hauling everything in the bed of your Tacoma. 2 5-gallon buckets, a shop vac you bought at Home Depot for $79, a case of microfiber towels from Amazon, and a garden hose that you beg apartment complex residents to let you connect to their outdoor spigots. Half the time the water pressure is pathetic, the other half somebody complains about runoff. You need real equipment. You research obsessively. Your first proper purchase is a Greenworks 2,100 pounds per square inch electric pressure washer, $229 at Lowe's. Then a Griot's Garage G9 random orbital polisher, $159 in Amazon. A rigid 6-gallon wet or dry vacuum, $69. A foam cannon that threads onto the pressure washer, $34. 5 gallons of P&S Brake Buster, 3 gallons of Meguiar's All-Purpose Cleaner, a gallon of Chemical Guy's Glass Cleaner, 2 pounds of medium-grade clay, and enough microfiber towels to dry a swimming pool. Total equipment investment, $1,847. You pay for it with a combination of your detailing earnings and $400 from savings. It hurts a little watching that savings account drop to $3,800. But every piece of equipment pays for itself within weeks. Here is the thing about mobile detailing that nobody tells you in the YouTube videos. The barrier to entry is laughably low. A pressure washer, a polisher, some chemicals, and a willingness to work in the heat. That is all it takes to start. The barrier to doing it well, to building something that outlasts the summer, is entirely different. That part requires something the equipment cannot provide. Your first real pricing disaster happens in April. A woman named Stephanie Alcala books you for a full interior and exterior detail on her 2021 Chevy Tahoe. 3 kids, 2 dogs, a basketball team's worth of goldfish cracker crumbs embedded in every crevice of the back seat. You quote her $175. It takes you 6 hours and 40 minutes. When you do the math later, subtracting the cost of the extra APC, the 3 microfiber towels you had to throw away because the dog hair permanently bonded to them, and the gallon of water you burned through fighting what appeared to be an archaeological layer of dried apple juice. Your effective hourly rate comes out to $18.40. You make $24.70 an hour at the dealership. This is the moment most mobile detailing businesses die, and they do not even realize it. The owner looks at the gross number, $175. Not bad for a day's work. Without factoring in time, supplies, vehicle wear, gas, and the opportunity cost of the 8 other customers they could not serve that day. The U.S. car wash and auto detailing market is worth $18.7 billion in 2026. The mobile segment is the fastest growing part of it, expanding at a double-digit clip, roughly 3 to 4 times faster than the industry overall. But somewhere between 60 and 70% of solo mobile detailers quit within 2 years. And the number one reason is not lack of customers. It is pricing themselves into poverty. You need a system. You sit down that night with a spreadsheet, an actual Google sheet, not a napkin, and you calculate your real cost per hour of operation. Gas to drive to the customer, roughly $8.50 round-trip average. Water, $3 per job if you're filling your own jugs, which you are. Supplies consumed per average detail, $14 to $22 depending on vehicle condition. Wear on equipment amortized over expected lifespan, about $4 per job. Insurance, which you do not have yet but need, will add another $6 to $8 per job. Your true cost per job before paying yourself a single dollar is roughly $38 to $44, or $175. Detail that takes 6 hours and 40 minutes nets you $131, or $19.60 an hour. That is a job, not a business. Have you ever done work you were proud of and then realized you essentially volunteered? That is what underpricing feels like. The customer loves you. Your bank account does not. The price increase happens in May, and it is the hardest conversation you have had in your professional life. You raise your base exterior wash from $75 to $95. Full interior-exterior detail goes from $175 to $225. Trucks and SUVs get a $30 surcharge. Pet hair gets a $40 surcharge. You put the new prices on the simple one-page website you built on Squarespace for $16 a month, and you send a text to your 23 existing customers. 4 of them never respond. 2 respond to say they found someone cheaper. 1, a guy named Dale, who drives a pristine Corvette C8, responds with a single word: finally. The math, though. In June, you do 26 details instead of the 32 you did in May. Revenue, $6,136, up from $5,248. Average ticket, $236, up from $164. Hours worked on detailing, 94, down from 141. Effective hourly rate after expenses, $53.80, up from $29.10. You lost 6 customers and made $900 more. Every business lesson you have ever read said this would happen, and you still almost did not do it, because the fear of losing people felt heavier than the math. By July, you are at a crossroads. You are doing 8 to 10 details every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 5:30 a.m. starts, finished by early afternoon. You are also working Monday through Friday at the dealership. Your alarm goes off at 4:45 a.m. on Saturdays, and you have not had a day off in 11 weeks. The money is good for a side hustle. You made $7,400 in June between the dealership and detailing, but your body is starting to register complaints. Your right shoulder aches from hours of polishing. Your knees protest every time you bend to clean wheel wells. You fell asleep at the dealership during a staff meeting, which your manager, a woman named Karen Aldridge, noticed and did not find charming. The question that keeps circling: can you replace your dealership income with detailing? The dealership pays $51,400 a year. That is $4,283 a month. Your best detailing month so far was $6,136, and that was on weekends only. If you went full-time, 5 or 6 days a week, the math suggests you could hit $10,000, $12,000 monthly. But the math also suggested that a 6-hour Tahoe detail at $175 was a good idea. The math can lie if you feed it optimism instead of data. You start tracking everything in a notebook you keep in the center console of your Tacoma. Drive time between appointments, Actual minutes per job by vehicle type. Supply consumption. Cancellation rate. Water refill stops. By late July, you have 6 weeks of real data, and it tells a clear story. Sedans average 2.1 hours, $195 average ticket. SUVs and trucks average 3.4 hours, $258 average ticket. Drive time between jobs averages 23 minutes in Mesa, but jumps to 41 minutes when you take jobs in Scottsdale or Tempe. Route density. That is a term you will not learn until much later, but you are already living it. The closer your customers are to each other, the more money you make per hour. A $225 detail in Mesa, followed by a $225 detail 3 miles away, is worth more than a $300 detail in Scottsdale, followed by a 40-minute drive back. In August, you do 2 things that terrify you. First, you buy a van. Second, you give notice at the dealership. The van is a 2017 Ford Transit Connect XLT with 68,000 miles. You find it on Facebook Marketplace for $13,800. The seller is a plumber who upgraded to a full-size Transit. You talk him down to $12,900, which you finance through your credit union at 6.9% APR. Monthly payment, $312. Building out the van takes 2 weeks and $4,100. You install a 65-gallon fresh water tank from a marine supply store, $289. A 12-volt demand water pump, $89. A Champion 3,500-watt inverter generator that fits in the back, $399. Shelving from Home Depot, $220. Magnetic tool holders, chemical racks, hose reels, a fold-down work surface. You watch a dozen van build-out videos, borrow tools from your neighbor, and do all the work yourself in the apartment parking lot. The finished product is not pretty. The shelving is slightly crooked, the electrical connections are held together with more zip ties than an engineer would approve of, and the generator rattles when the van goes over speed bumps. But it works. You have a self-contained mobile detailing unit that carries its own water, power, and supplies. You no longer need to beg for hose access. You no longer need to haul buckets in your truck bed. You pull up to a customer's house, open the side door, and you are operational in 4 minutes. The notice at the dealership is harder. Karen Aldridge takes it well. "I figured," she says, "you've been detailing cars in our parking lot on your lunch breaks for months." She is not wrong. "If it doesn't work out, we'll have a spot for you." You appreciate that. You'll never take her up on it. Your last day at the dealership is August 22nd. You celebrate by detailing Karen's personal car, a 2022 RAV4 Prime, for free, which she tries to refuse 3 times before accepting. It is the best detail you have ever done. You put the before and after on Instagram. It gets 47 likes, which is a personal record. September, your first full month as a full-time mobile detailer. You have 41 customers on your list, a van that smells permanently of Chemical Guy's VRP and fresh rubber, and a savings account that now sits at $2,100 after the van purchase and build-out. Week 1. 7 details. Revenue, $1,715. Not bad, except your van payment is $312, insurance is $184, auto only, you still do not have business liability insurance, which is a problem you are ignoring. Gas is $220, because you are driving all over the East Valley chasing appointments. And supplies run $190. Net for the week, $809. Week 2. 5 details. 2 cancellations and a no-show. Revenue, $1,225. The no-show is a guy in Gilbert who simply is not home when you arrive at 7 a.m. You sit in his driveway for 20 minutes, call twice, text 3 times, and leave. You have driven 19 minutes to get here. The round trip cost you $11 in gas and 58 minutes of time. That is $11 and 58 minutes of nothing. No-shows are the mosquitoes of mobile detailing. Small enough to ignore once, maddening in repetition. Week 3. 8 details. Revenue, $2,040. This is more like it, but it is also 6 days of work. 11 hours on Wednesday because an Escalade took 4.5 hours instead of the estimated 3. And you skipped eating lunch 3 days in a row because you could not afford the time between appointments. At the end of September, you sit at your kitchen table with a calculator and the truth. Revenue, $6,270. Expenses, $2,170. Van payment, gas, supplies, phone, Squarespace, auto insurance. Net, $4,100. Your dealership job paid $4,283 per month. You are making less money than before, working more hours, and you no longer have health insurance. You dropped it when you left the dealership because the Cobra premium was $580 a month. You will sign up for an ACA marketplace plan eventually. Eventually is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. This is the valley. Every business owner knows it, and nobody warns you about it loudly enough. The first month full-time feels worse than the side hustle, because the side hustle had a safety net. Now the net is gone, and the wire is thinner than you imagined. You call your mom on a Sunday night. She lives in Flagstaff. Your dad passed 4 years ago, heart attack at 58, working the parts counter at an O'Reilly Auto Parts he had managed for 12 years. Your mum asks how the business is going, and you say, fine, because that is what you say to your mum. And she says your dad would be proud, because that is what she says about everything you do. And you hang up and stare at the ceiling of your apartment for 20 minutes, thinking about a man who worked for someone else his entire life and died in the stockroom, surrounded by brake rotors and wiper blades. You are not going back to working for someone else. Not because of pride, because you have seen where that road ends, and it ends at 58 with a widow in Flagstaff who has to sell the house because the life insurance was only $50,000. Week 4. 9 details. Revenue, $2,290. You institute a $25 no-show fee via text confirmation the night before every appointment. 2 customers push back. 1 cancels his booking permanently. The other pays the fee and never no-shows again. In October, your no-show rate drops from 12% to 3%. That single policy change is worth approximately $400 per month in recovered revenue. By the end of October, monthly revenue climbs to $8,100. November, $8,740. The curve is bending upward. The valley is not gone, but you can see the rim. Arizona helps. Unlike lawn care businesses in the Midwest or Northeast that shut down for 4 months every winter, mobile detailing in the Phoenix Metro operates year-round. The sun damages paint 12 months a year. Dust storms in monsoon season, July through September, deposit layers of fine desert silt that owners want removed immediately. Winter snowbirds, retired couples from Minnesota and Wisconsin who migrate south from October through April, bring cars that sat in garages for 6 months and need full details upon arrival. Your winter months are slower, not dead. December is $9,200, not $0. This is an advantage you did not appreciate until you talked to a mobile detailer in Chicago at an IDA forum online. His business does $40,000 per month in summer and $8,000 in winter. Yours does $14,000 in summer and $9,000 in winter. His annual revenue is higher, but his cash flow anxiety is worse because the swings are brutal. Yours is a steadier line. In the mobile detailing business, consistency is worth more than peak months. The marketing problem solves itself faster than you expect, and the reason is simple. Before and after photos are the most powerful sales tool in the detailing industry. In October, you create a dedicated Instagram account for the business. You call it Clean Slate Mobile Detail, a name you brainstorm for 3 days before settling on because every other name you like is taken. You post before and after photos of every job. Dirty wheel wells transformed to showroom condition. Interior leather seats going from cracked and grimy to supple and gleaming. Engine bays coated in enough brake dust to start a fire, then pressure washed and dressed until they look like a magazine ad. The photos do something that your Squarespace website and Nextdoor posts cannot. They make people stop scrolling. A before and after of a trashed minivan interior is visual proof that you can fix the thing they are embarrassed about. Within 6 weeks, the Instagram account has 1,400 followers, almost all of them local to the Phoenix Metro. Customers start tagging you. A real estate agent named Monica Valdez posts your detail of her white Model Y and tags you with the caption, "If you live in the East Valley and your car doesn't look like this, you're choosing not to." That single post brings in 11 inquiries. You book 7 of them. Google My Business is the other engine. You register the business officially, LLC formation, through the Arizona Corporation Commission, $50 filing fee. Because your business sits in Maricopa County, you are exempt from the newspaper publication requirement. The Commission posts the formation notice itself at no cost, one of the small mercies of running a business in Metro Phoenix. You get an EIN from the IRS website in 4 minutes. Business bank account at Chase, $0 to open. General liability insurance through Next Insurance, $47 per month, $1 million coverage. You are finally legitimate. The Google listing goes live in November. You ask every customer to leave a review. By December, you have 23 reviews, all 5 stars, and you are appearing in the top 3 results for Mobile Detailing Mesa AZ. Google is sending you 4 to 6 leads per week, and your conversion rate is about 60%, meaning 3 or 4 of those leads turn into paying customers every week. Revenue in November, $8,740. December, $9,200. January, $11,400. The valley is behind you, but there is a cliff ahead, and you cannot see it yet. In February, you hit your first $10,000 month while working 5 days a week. You detail 58 vehicles. Average ticket, $192. You work 6 days one week because a dealership, not Larry H. Miller, a smaller Honda dealer in Chandler, calls and asks if you can detail 4 trade-ins by Friday. You say yes, because saying yes is still your default mode, and because the dealer pays $95 per car on the spot, cash, no invoicing. But 58 vehicles in 22 working days is 2.6 details per day. Each detail averages 2.7 hours of hands-on work. That is 7 hours of detailing per day, plus drive time, plus setup and breakdown, plus the 30 minutes you spend each evening responding to inquiries, sending quotes, and scheduling for the next day. You are working 55 hours a week, not including the time you spend Sunday nights batch editing Instagram photos and writing captions. Your body is now past the complaint stage and into the negotiation stage. Your right wrist has started going numb during polishing, which a quick Google search tells you is either carpal tunnel or the beginning of the end. You buy a wrist brace at CVS for $14 and switch to your left hand for pad removal. The results are noticeably worse with your left hand. This is the ceiling that solo mobile detailers hit, and most of them either accept it or burn out. You can do about 60 to 65 details per month as a solo operator, working 5 to 6 days per week. At an average ticket of $190, $210, that puts your gross revenue between $11,400 and $13,650 after expenses, which are running about $2,800 per month. Now, with the van, gas, supplies, insurance, and software, you are netting $8,600 to $10,850. That is $103,000 to $130,000 a year. For a 28-year-old with no employees, no office, and a used Transit Connect, that is legitimately impressive. It is also a trap, because the only way to make more is to work more, and you are already at the physical limit. What if you could clone yourself? Not literally, you are not worth cloning, and you know it. But what if someone else could do what you do in a second van at 80% of your quality? Would customers accept 80% if the scheduling was more flexible and the price was the same? This question will cost you $11,200 and one very angry Lexus owner before you get the answer. Your first hire is a 21-year-old named Tyler Pham. He is your cousin's roommate's friend, the kind of connection that sounds sketchy, but is actually how about 40% of small businesses in America find their first employees. Tyler works part-time at a car wash in Tempe and says he wants to get into detailing for real. He seems enthusiastic. He has his own car. He passes a basic background check that costs you $35 on Good Hire. You offer him $15 an hour plus tips. He starts on a Monday in March. You spend 3 full days training him. Washing technique, clay bar pressure, polisher speed settings, chemical dilution ratios, interior extraction. He absorbs it quickly enough, and by day 4, you send him out in your van to do a solo detail on a repeat customer's Honda Accord, while you take the Tacoma to a different job. Tyler finishes the Accord in 3 hours and 15 minutes. The customer texts you a thumbs up. You exhale. On Thursday, Tyler's 4th solo day, he details a 2022 Lexus RX 350 belonging to a woman named Patricia Nolan. Patricia is a retired school principal and one of your most particular customers. She tips well, but inspects the car afterward with a flashlight. You warned Tyler about this. You specifically said, "Patricia will check under the seats with a flashlight. Make sure you vacuum under the seats." Tyler vacuums under the seats. But Tyler also puts a swirl mark in the hood of the Lexus with a polishing pad he forgot to clean. He used the same pad he had used on a previous car without removing the dried compound residue, and the hardened residue acted like sandpaper. Patricia calls you, not Tyler. Her voice is controlled in that way that retired school principals have perfected over decades of dealing with misbehaving children. "Ryan, there is a circular scratch pattern on my hood. It was not there this morning." You drive to Patricia's house. You see the swirl mark. It is bad. A visible circular haze about 4 inches in diameter right in the center of the hood where the sun hits it worst. In the right light, it looks like someone took steel wool to the paint. The fix costs you 3 hours of your own time and $40 in compound and polish. You also give Patricia her next 2 details free, which costs you another $430 in revenue. Total cost of Tyler's mistake, $470 plus 3 hours. Tyler's reaction when you explain what happened. "Oh yeah, I noticed the pad was kinda crunchy." You do not fire Tyler. Not yet. But you institute a rule that will save you thousands of dollars over the next 3 years. Every employee cleans and inspects every pad and towel before it touches a vehicle. Every single time. No exceptions. And you buy color-coded microfiber sets. Blue for exterior, yellow for interior, red for wheels. Cross-contamination is how detailers ruin paint, and color coding is how you prevent it. A customer named Robert Chen changes the trajectory of your business in April. Robert drives a 2024 Tesla Model S Plaid, midnight cherry red. He pulls it into his 3-car garage in North Scottsdale and asks a question you have been dreading. "Can you do ceramic coating?" Ceramic coating is the line between a mobile detailer and a mobile detailing professional. Below that line, you wash, clay, polish, and wax. Above it, you apply semi-permanent nano-ceramic coatings that bond to the clear coat and provide years of protection. Hydrophobic surfaces, UV resistance, chemical resistance, and a depth of gloss that wax cannot touch. The products cost more. The training matters. A bad ceramic coating application is worse than no coating at all, because removal requires machine polishing the entire vehicle. And the pricing reflects the stakes. A professional ceramic coating job runs $899 to $1,499 for a sedan, $1,099 to $1,799 for an SUV, and $1,299 to $2,200 for exotics or large trucks. You have never applied ceramic coating. You have watched about 80 hours of YouTube videos about it. You are honest with Robert Chen. "I haven't done it professionally yet. I can learn, but your car probably isn't the one I should practice on." Robert respects this, which earns you something more valuable than the job: his trust. "Learn it," he says. "I'll wait." You sign up for a 2-day IDA, that is, International Detailing Association training course in Las Vegas. Cost $849 including travel. You buy a starter kit of G-Technic Crystal Serum Light and EXOV 5 top coat. $487 for enough product to coat 3 vehicles. You practice on your own Tacoma first, then on Tyler's 2016 Civic, then on a junkyard hood panel you buy for $40 from a salvage yard in Apache Junction. The paint correction part is where the real skill lives. Before you can apply ceramic coating, the paint must be perfect. Every swirl, scratch, water spot, and oxidation mark needs to be removed through machine polishing. This is called paint correction, and it is measured in stages. A single-stage correction removes 50 to 70% of defects. A 2-stage correction gets 80 to 90%. A full multi-stage correction chases everything. You buy a Rupes LHR 21 Mark III long throw polisher, $389, because the Griot's G9 does not have the power or throw for serious correction work. You spend 40 hours over 3 weeks practicing cut and polish sequences on junkyard panels. You ruin 2 panels completely. You learn the hard way that a rotary at 1,800 revolutions per minute on single-stage paint will burn through the clear coat in about 4 seconds. 6 weeks after Robert Chen's request, you call him. "I'm ready." Robert's Model S takes you 14 hours over 2 days. Paint correction, 9 hours, 2-stage. The Midnight Cherry Red is soft and swirl-prone. Ceramic coating application, 4 hours, 2 coats of Crystal Serum Light, 1 coat of EXO top coat, plus curing time. Final inspection and touch-up, 1 hour. You charge $1,299 after product cost, $162, and your time. The effective hourly rate is $81.21. More importantly, the car looks supernatural. The coating creates a depth and clarity in the paint that makes the factory finish look dull by comparison. When Robert runs water over the hood and watches it bead into perfect spheres and roll off like mercury, he takes a video and posts it on his Instagram with 4,200 followers. That video generates 9 inquiries for ceramic coating. You book 5 of them. Average ticket, $1,187. Total revenue from those 5 jobs over the next 6 weeks, $5,935. Ceramic coating has not just changed your pricing, it has changed your customer base. The people who pay $1,200 for paint protection drive nicer cars, live in nicer neighborhoods, and they refer friends who also drive nice cars and live in nice neighborhoods. Every ceramic coating customer you gain pulls you up market. The pivot to premium services accelerates through the summer. You restructure your entire pricing menu. Express wash, $89. Exterior hand wash, tire dressing, window cleaning, 1.5 hours. Full detail, $225. Interior and exterior, clay bar, spray sealant, 3 hours. Premium detail, $349. Everything plus 1-stage paint correction, leather conditioning, engine bay, 5 hours. Ceramic coating, standard, $999. 1-stage correction plus 1 coat ceramic, 2-year durability. Ceramic coating, premium, $1,499. 2-stage correction plus 2 coats ceramic plus top coat, 5-year durability. The express wash is a loss leader you almost do not offer, but it serves a purpose. It gets you into driveways. An $89 wash on a dirty Mercedes leads to a conversation about paint condition, which leads to a quote for ceramic coating. You convert about 1 in 5 express wash customers to a premium service within 3 months. Tyler has been with you for 4 months now. He has gotten better. No more swirl marks. His interior work is consistently good. His speed has improved to the point where he can do a full detail in 2 hours and 45 minutes. But you do not trust him with paint correction or ceramic coating. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The skill gap between a good wash and wax detailer and a competent correction specialist is wider than most people in the industry admit. Revenue for July, $14,800. That is your highest month ever. You did 39 details yourself, including 6 ceramic coatings, and Tyler did 22 wash and detail jobs. Your net, after all expenses, including Tyler's wages, $9,600. If someone had told you a year ago that you would be netting $9,600 a month from washing cars in people's driveways, you would have laughed. But here is the question that every service business owner faces at this stage, and you are about to face it sooner than you expect. Are you building a business, or are you just really good at a job? The difference matters. A job pays you when you work. A business pays you when other people work. Right now, you are still the highest revenue producer in your own company. If you break your wrist or get sick or just want to take a week off, revenue drops by 60%. That is not a business. That is you with a van and an employee. Derek Okafor changes everything. You meet Derek at a car show in Scottsdale in August. He is 24 years old, an ex-Marine who spent 4 years as a motor transport mechanic at Camp Pendleton before getting out and moving to Arizona because his girlfriend got into the nursing program at ASU. He is detailing a friend's car at the show, and you notice 2 things. His technique is better than Tyler's, and he is wearing nitrile gloves, which means he either has sensitive skin or he takes contamination control seriously. It turns out to be both. You give him your card. He calls you the next day. You offer him $18 an hour, $3 more than Tyler, because you can see immediately that he is worth the premium. Derek starts the following Monday. Within 3 weeks, Derek can do a full detail at 90% of your quality. Within 6 weeks, he is at 95%. By October, you trust him enough to start teaching him paint correction, something you never attempted with Tyler. Derek's hands are steady. His patience is infinite. The Marine Corps will do that. And he follows your SOPs with a precision that sometimes embarrasses you, because his work is more consistent than yours. Now you have 2 detailers and 1 problem. 1 van. You buy a second van in October, a 2018 Ram ProMaster City, 54,000 miles, $11,400 on AutoTrader. Build-out is cheaper this time because you know what you need and what you do not, $2,800. Total investment, $14,200. Monthly payment, $278. Derek gets the ProMaster. Tyler keeps working out of the Transit Connect. You rotate between vans depending on the day's schedule, handling ceramic coatings personally, while Derek and Tyler manage the wash and detail bookings. November revenue, $22,100. December, $19,800. Holiday slowdown. People are spending money on gifts, not car details, and half your customers are traveling. January, $24,600. 3 vans, including your Tacoma for overflow, 3 people, and nearly $300,000 in annualized revenue. You are 28 years old, and you have not received a paycheck from someone else in 6 months. The dealership contract arrives in February of the following year. Sunset Honda in Chandler, the same dealer that called you for those 4 trade-ins months ago, wants a standing arrangement. Their detail guy quit. They need someone to handle pre-sale details on used inventory and customer cars sold with complimentary first details. Volume 15 to 20 cars per week. Price $85 per car, net 15 payment terms. The math? $85 times 17 cars average equals $1,445 per week, or roughly $6,200 per month in guaranteed revenue. That is predictable income in a business where cancellations and seasonal dips create constant anxiety. You say yes immediately. What you do not calculate is the opportunity cost. Derek handles the dealership work because he is the most efficient detailer, and the dealer lot is close to his apartment. But 17 dealer details per week, at an average of 1.8 hours each, consumes 30 hours of Derek's time. That is 3.5 full days. Derek's best days doing residential clients generate $600 to $900 in revenue. The dealer is paying you $85 per car, which is roughly $47 per hour of Derek's time, after you subtract his wage, supplies, and van costs. You are paying Derek $18 an hour to generate $47 an hour for you from the dealership. That is a $29 spread, or about $493 per week in profit from Derek's dealership work. Alternatively, if Derek spent those same 30 hours doing residential clients at your average ticket of $230, he would generate roughly $2,500 in revenue per week from residential, with about $1,800 in profit after his wages and costs. The dealership contract is making you $493 a week in profit. The same hours spent on residential work would make you $1,800. You do not figure this out for 4 months. When you finally do, sitting at your kitchen table with the spreadsheets that have become your nightly reading, you feel something between embarrassment and anger. You took a deal that felt safe, and it cost you roughly $5,200 per month in lost profit. Have you ever kept doing something because it felt smart, even after the numbers said it was not? That is the comfort premium. Guaranteed money feels worth more than its actual value because uncertainty has a psychological cost. The dealership contract was not a bad deal in a vacuum. It was a bad deal compared to what you gave up for it. You do not cancel the contract immediately. You renegotiate. You tell the service manager, a guy named Vince, who calls everyone boss, regardless of their actual status, that you need $115 per car or you cannot continue. Vince pushes back. You show him what 3 other mobile detailers in the valley charge for dealer work. Vince agrees to $105. You accept because the relationship has value beyond the per-car rate, and because Vince introduces you to 2 other small dealers who each sign contracts at $110. Combined dealer revenue, $11,200 per month. It is still not as profitable per hour as residential, but it is consistent, and it fills the schedule gaps that random cancellations create. The quality control crisis hits in May, and it hits like a slow leak rather than an explosion. 3 complaints in 1 week. A customer in Gilbert says her floor mats are still dirty. A customer in Mesa says the dashboard has wipe marks. A repeat customer in Tempe, one of your originals from the next door days, sends you a photo of a streak on his windshield with the caption, "This is not the clean slate I'm used to." That last one stings, because he is right. He is used to your work, not Tyler's, and the difference is not catastrophic, but it is there, like the difference between a restaurant where the chef cooks your meal and one where the line cook does. Same menu, same ingredients, slightly different care. You are doing about 30% of the actual detailing work now. Tyler does about 35%, and Derek does 35%, including the dealer cars. Every car you personally detail has your attention in a way that employee-detailed cars do not, and customers can tell. This is the founder's dilemma in service businesses. Your quality standard lives in your hands, your eyes, your obsessive tendency to check the door jambs one more time. You cannot transfer that obsession to employees because it is not a skill, it is a pathology. And you cannot be in 3 places at once. The solution is not to do more work yourself. The solution is systems. You spend 2 weeks building what you call the Clean Slate Standard, a 27-point inspection checklist that every employee photographs and timestamps before marking a job complete. Exterior, paint clarity, tire dressing uniformity, window streak test, look at the glass at a 45-degree angle in sunlight, trim dressing, wheel face, wheel barrel, door jambs, gas cap area, badges. Interior, dash, center console, cup holders, door panels, seats, seat crevices, floor mats, carpet, headliner, visors, rear view mirror, seat belt webbing, trunk, engine bay if applicable. A photo documentation policy, 4 exterior angles and 4 interior angles, before and after, uploaded to a shared Google Drive folder before leaving the customer's property. A chemical dilution chart, laminated and velcroed to the inside of each van's supply cabinet, because Tyler has been free pouring APC at roughly double the recommended concentration, which costs money and leaves residue. A weekly team meeting, Sunday evening, 30 minutes, video call, where you review customer feedback, address issues, and calibrate standards. It works. Not immediately, but over the following 2 months, complaints drop from 3 per week to about 1 every 2 weeks. The photo documentation alone changes behavior. When employees know their work will be visually reviewed, they add the extra 2 minutes of care that separates adequate from impressive. Tyler quits in July. He gives you 1 day's notice, which is essentially no notice, because he has taken a job at a Tesla service center in Tempe that pays $21 an hour with benefits. You cannot blame him. You are paying him $16 an hour. You bumped him from $15 after the first year, with no health insurance, no paid time off, and no guarantee of 40 hours per week. This is the labor reality of small, mobile detailing businesses in 2026. The U.S. auto detailing industry employs roughly 284,000 workers, and turnover rates in the sector exceed 35% annually. Your employees can get hired at a fixed location detail shop, a car wash chain, a dealership service center, or any number of competing mobile detailers, all of whom are fishing in the same labor pool. Retention is a pricing problem. If you cannot pay competitively, you lose people. You hire Tyler's replacement within 10 days. His name is Javier Reyes, 31 years old, 8 years of detailing experience, including 2 years running his own solo operation in Tucson before moving to Phoenix for his wife's job. Javier is better than Tyler was at his peak. He is also more expensive, $19 an hour, which you agree to because experience has a dollar value, and Javier's experience is worth the premium. But losing Tyler teaches you something that will matter later. The gap between your best employee, Derek, and your average employee, Tyler Javier, is not about skill. It is about investment. Derek is invested because you taught him ceramic coating, gave him the ProMaster as his van, brought him to client meetings, and treated him like a partner rather than hourly labor. Tyler was a worker. Derek is a stakeholder. You start thinking about how to make Javier a stakeholder too. The labor math in mobile detailing is different from a fixed location shop. A detail shop pays rent, but saves on gas, drive time, and van maintenance. A mobile operation saves on rent, but pays for vehicles, fuel, and the hours lost between appointments. Each model has roughly the same break-even point, about $18,000 to $22,000 per month for a 3-person operation. But the mobile model scales differently. Adding a new van and operator costs $17,000 to $20,000 in setup and produces $7,000 to $9,000 per month in new revenue within 60 days. Adding a new bay at a fixed shop costs $60,000 to $100,000 in build-out and takes 6 to 12 months to fill. Your business scales in $18,000 increments. That is the cost of 1 van, 1 build-out, and 1 trained operator. The question is whether the market can absorb the additional capacity. And in the Phoenix metro, 4.9 million people, 3.2 million registered vehicles, average summer temperature above 105 degrees, and paint that degrades visibly within 18 months without protection, the answer is yes. The market is not the constraint. People are. Finding someone who can detail a car at 80% of your quality is achievable in about 3 weeks of training. Finding someone who shows up on time, handles chemicals responsibly, treats customer vehicles with respect, does not steal product, does not scratch paint, and stays longer than 6 months, that combination is rarer than you would think. Revenue by August of your second full year in business is running $26,000 to $29,000 per month. 3 operators, you, Derek, Javier, 2 vans plus your Tacoma for overflow days. You are doing about 130 details per month across all 3 operators, plus 6 to 8 ceramic coating jobs that you handle personally. The business has a shape now. Residential clients make up 58% of revenue. Dealer contracts are 22%. The remaining 20% is commercial work, a property management company that has you detail their company vehicles monthly, a real estate brokerage whose agents get quarterly details as a perk, and a construction company owner who sends his F3, 50, and 2 crew trucks every 2 weeks. The commercial accounts are gold. They are recurring, predictable, low negotiation, and they pay on net 30 terms without complaint. One commercial account that generates $1,800 per month is worth more than 10 individual residential clients who book inconsistently and cancel when it rains, which, in Arizona, it barely does, but the point stands. You invest in a CRM platform called Urable, $79 per month, which handles scheduling, invoicing, customer communication, and route optimization. The route optimization alone saves you an estimated 4 hours per week in drive time across 3 operators, which translates to roughly $2,400 per month in recaptured revenue. Business insurance now costs you $287 per month. General liability, $47. Garage keeper's liability, $156. This covers damage to customer vehicles while in your care, and you will be grateful for it soon. Commercial auto on 2 vans, $84. You carry $2 million in aggregate coverage. Your insurance agent, a woman named Denise Wyatt at State Farm, tells you that 80% of mobile detailers she talks to carry no garage keepers coverage. They don't think they need it until they need it, she says. You will remember this quote. In October, you add 2 employees. Isaiah Washington, 23, fresh out of a community college automotive program, hungry and trainable. And Maria Sandoval, 29, single mum, previous experience at a hand car wash in Glendale. Faster than anyone you have ever seen at interior extraction. 5 employees now. 2 vans is not enough. You buy a 3rd van, a 2019 Ford Transit Connect, 41,000 miles, $15,200. Build out, $3,100. You lease the previous owner's magnetic signs and swap them for yours. Total fleet, 3 vans plus the Tacoma. The organizational chart looks like this. You, owner, ceramic coating specialist, quality control, sales. Derek, crew lead, handles the Scottsdale and Paradise Valley route, highest value clients. Javier handles the Mesa and Gilbert route. Isaiah and Maria, rotating between dealer work and residential overflow. Monthly payroll is now $14,800. Add van payments, $312 plus $278 plus $294 equals $884. Insurance, $287. Gas, $1,400 for 3 vans. Supplies, $2,200. Software, $79. Phone lines, $180. And miscellaneous, $400. And your monthly overhead is approximately $20,230. Revenue in October, $31,400. Net operating income, $11,170. You are paying yourself $7,000 per month. The remaining $4,170 stays in the business account as operating reserve. You have $18,600 in that reserve now, which represents about 27 days of operating expenses. Financial advisors say you should have 90 days. You are working on it. November brings 2 things: your first $35,000 month and your first theft. The $35,000 comes from a combination of regular work plus 3 ceramic coating jobs, plus a holiday rush of people wanting their cars detailed before Thanksgiving travel. You work 6 days that week, including detailing a customer's car on Thanksgiving morning at 6 a.m. because she was leaving for her parents' house at noon and absolutely could not show up with a dirty car. She tips you $80. You use it to buy a rotisserie chicken from Safeway at 2 p.m. because you do not have time to cook. The theft is Isaiah. Derek notices it first. Product consumption is up, but job count on Isaiah's route is flat. A full bottle of G-Technic Crystal Serum Light, your most expensive product at $162 per bottle, is missing from the supply cabinet in van 3. Isaiah says he dropped it and it's shattered. There is no glass in the van, in the trash, or anywhere else. Derek finds the empty box in the dumpster behind Isaiah's apartment complex. You check your Square records. 3 customers in the past month paid Isaiah in cash, and those payments never appeared in your account. Isaiah was collecting cash from customers who preferred to pay that way and pocketing it. Combined with the stolen product, the total loss is roughly $840. You fire Isaiah on a Tuesday. He does not argue. He does not apologize. He just hands you the van keys and leaves. You change the locks on all 3 vans that afternoon. The policy change is immediate. No more cash payments. Every transaction goes through Square or the Eurable invoicing system. Customers who want to pay cash are politely told you only accept card or digital payment. You lose 2 customers over this. You gain peace of mind. December is quiet. Revenue dips to $27,600. But expenses are lower too, without Isaiah's wages. Net, $8,400. You hire Isaiah's replacement in January, a 26-year-old named Brandon Fisk, who lasted at his previous job for 3 years, which is the only reference check that really matters. In February, something happens that will reshape your business more than any single decision you have made so far. A woman named Sandra Reese walks into your life, figuratively, since you work in driveways, and asks you to detail 4 vehicles in one day. Sandra manages 9 rental properties in the Scottsdale Paradise Valley corridor. Her tenants include corporate executives, professional athletes, and people whose net worth starts with commas you cannot count on one hand. She needs a detailer she can trust, with vehicles that cost more than most houses. Sandra's 4 vehicles that day: a Range Rover Sport, a Mercedes GLS 580, a BMW X7, and a Lexus LX 600. Combined MSRP, $421,000. You detail them yourself because this is not a send the crew situation. It takes you 12 hours. Sandra pays you $1,100 and asks the question that changes everything. Can you handle a monthly rotation of 12 to 15 vehicles in this neighborhood? You say yes. Sandra Reese becomes your biggest single client. Her monthly rotation generates $3,800, $4,600, and more importantly, she introduces you to the Paradise Valley clientele, the zip code where the median home price is $3.1 million, and the average household has 2.8 vehicles worth over $60,000 each. These are people who do not ask how much, they ask, when can you start? Your average ticket in the Paradise Valley route is $340 compared to $195 in Mesa and $230 in Gilbert. Derek handles this route exclusively, and you spend a week training him on the specific protocols for high-end vehicles. Which products to use on matte paint, not the same as gloss. How to handle carbon fiber trim, no abrasive polishes. And why you never, ever lean a belt buckle against a $190,000 car. And now we are back to Gerald Kessler's driveway. March, 7:41 a.m. The Porsche Cayenne GTS in aventuring green, with an 11-inch scratch on the rear quarter panel. You already know what Gerald said. You already know about the 2 cancelled appointments. But here is what you do not know yet, standing in that driveway. The scratch was made by Derek. Not intentionally, not through carelessness in the way Tyler once scratched the Lexus. Derek's technique is impeccable. What happened is this. The previous day, Derek detailed a contractor's F250 that had been on a job site. The truck's wheel wells were caked with construction debris, including microscopic particles of concrete and metal shavings. Derek cleaned the truck thoroughly, but a single metal particle, smaller than a grain of sand, embedded itself in the pile of a wash mitt. Not the mitt he used on the truck. The mitt he used to wipe down the exterior of the Porsche the next morning, after the wash, during the final dry. One particle, one pass across the quarter panel, 11 inches. This is the kind of failure that no checklist catches, because Derek followed the checklist. He used a clean mitt from the blue exterior pile. He inspected it visually. The particle was invisible. Your color coding system, your SOPs, your 27-point inspection, none of it was designed for a contaminant you cannot see. Gerald Kessler does not care about the particle. He cares about his car. And he is about to care very loudly on the internet. You have 72 hours. That is how long Gerald gives you before he posts his review. He says this explicitly, with the calm authority of a man who has negotiated billion-dollar deals and considers a car scratch a minor annoyance that he fully intends to weaponize. Option 1. File an insurance claim. Your garage keeper's liability covers this, but the deductible is $1,000, and a claim will raise your premium by an estimated $40 to $60 per month for the next 3 years. Total cost of filing, $1,000 deductible plus $1,440 to $2,160 in premium increases. Roughly $2,400 to $3,200. Option 2. Pay for the repair yourself. A body shop quotes you $3,800 to repaint the quarter panel. A paintless dent repair specialist says he cannot help. It is a scratch, not a dent. You call a paint correction specialist who charges $150 per hour and estimates 6 to 8 hours. Option 3. Fix it yourself. You choose option 3, and you do it on a Sunday when Gerald's wife is at brunch and Gerald is playing golf. You show up at 7 a.m. with your Rupes LHR 21, 4 grades of compound and polish, a DA backing plate, and 6 hours of focus that border on meditation. The scratch is not deep. It has not penetrated the clear coat. It is in the top 1 to 2 microns of the clear coat layer, which means compound and polish can remove it entirely without needing a respray. You start with Meguiar's M105 Ultra Cut Compound on a microfiber cutting pad, working a 2-foot section at slow speed. Then M205 Ultra Finishing Polish on a foam finishing pad. Then Sonak's Perfect Finish on a soft foam pad. 3 stages, each one removing finer and finer marks until the scratch is gone. By 1 p.m., the quarter panel is flawless. Not just fixed, improved. The entire panel has a deeper gloss than it had before because you corrected not just the scratch but all the surrounding swirl marks and light defects that 6 months of automatic car washes had inflicted. Gerald comes home at 2:30 p.m. He walks to the car. He bends down. He runs his finger along the quarter panel. He stands up. "How much do I owe you?" "Nothing. It was our mistake. The repair is on us." Gerald looks at the panel again. "This looks better than when I bought it." "It is better than when you bought it." There is a pause. Gerald Kessler is not accustomed to people fixing their mistakes at their own expense without being forced. He is accustomed to lawyers and escalation and corporate liability departments that take 6 weeks to respond. A guy showing up on a Sunday morning and fixing the problem with his own hands is a language Gerald did not expect to hear.
"You're going to get a review from me," Gerald says. "It's going to be 5 stars.
He posts it that evening. It is not just 5 stars. It is a detailed account of how you handled the situation. He calls out the same-day personal repair, the quality of the correction, and what he describes as the kind of accountability that barely exists anymore in any industry. The review gets 43 reactions in the first week. Gerald Kessler becomes your second largest referral source in Paradise Valley. Over the next year, he sends you 11 clients. Combined lifetime value of those referrals, $47,000 and counting. The scratch cost you 6 hours and $40 in product. It earned you $47,000. After the Gerald Kessler incident, you redesign your contamination control protocols. The new system: every mitt and towel used on a vehicle with heavy contamination, trucks, work vehicles, anything that has been on a job site or unpaved road, goes into a separate heavy laundry cycle with a pre-soak stage. Those mitts are never used on premium vehicles. You buy separate sets: grey mitts for work trucks and construction vehicles, white mitts for premium and luxury. Derek suggests this, and you implement it the same week. April through August is the growth stretch. Revenue climbs from $33,000 to $41,000 per month. You add your 6th employee, a detailer named Calvin Brooks, 28, quiet, meticulous, and completely uninterested in small talk, which makes him perfect for the dealer route where speed matters more than client rapport. The team now runs 3 daily routes. Route 1, Scottsdale and Paradise Valley. Average 4 to 5 jobs per day. Average ticket, $310. Focus, premium residential and ceramic coating prep.
Route 2, Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler. Average 5 to 6 jobs per day. Average ticket, $210. Focus, residential and small commercial. Route 3, dealer contracts and overflow. Average 7 to 9 jobs per day. Average ticket, $105. Focus, volume and consistency. You personally handle all ceramic coating jobs, which now average 3 to 4 per week, at an average ticket of $1,250. That is $3,750 to $5,000 per week in premium revenue that only you can generate. Wait, do you see the problem? You are still the bottleneck. Every ceramic coating job requires you, personally, physically, hands-on, for 8 to 14 hours. If you are doing 4 coatings per week, that is 32 to 56 hours consumed by work that generates premium revenue but cannot be delegated. Derek can do paint correction. He is good at it, maybe 90% of your skill level. But ceramic coating application requires a controlled environment, precise timing, and the kind of paranoid attention to leveling and high spots that comes from having ruined enough panels to know exactly what failure looks like. You ruined 4 panels during your training. Derek has ruined 0, because you have not let him fail yet, which means he has not truly learned. This is the paradox of the craftsman entrepreneur. The thing that makes you the most money per hour is the thing that prevents you from scaling. Your ceramic coating skills are worth $80 to $100 per hour in direct revenue. But your management skills, scheduling, sales, quality control, hiring, create $200 to $300 per hour in indirect revenue by enabling 6 other people to work simultaneously. You need to teach Derek ceramic coating. You need to accept that his first 3 attempts will be imperfect. You need to stand behind him while he applies a $160 product to a $90,000 scar and resist the urge to take the applicator pad from his hand. You need to let him fail in a controlled way so that his failures cost you $500 now instead of $5,000 later. You start training Derek on ceramic coating in June. His first application on Javier's personal car, a 2020 Camry, chosen specifically because Javier does not care about perfection and considers his car a transportation appliance, takes 11 hours. There are 2 high spots on the hood that require repolishing and reapplication. Derek is frustrated. You tell him your first application took 14 hours and had 3 high spots. By his 4th application, Derek is at 8 hours with 0 high spots. By his 8th, he is at 6.5 hours, and the finish is indistinguishable from yours. You promote him from handling only corrections to handling both corrections and coatings on the Paradise Valley route. Your personal ceramic coating workload drops from 4 per week to 1 or 2. Your management time increases. Your revenue does not change. But for the first time since you started the business, you can take a Wednesday off and nothing breaks. The commercial side of the business expands through referrals in a way that residential never did. Sandra Reese introduces you to a property management company that handles corporate housing for a tech company's Arizona office. That leads to a standing contract, 22 vehicles, detailed monthly, $110 each. Revenue, $2,420 per month, predictable as rent. A real estate developer named Tom Huang hires you to detail the model home garage showpieces for his new luxury subdivision in North Scottsdale. Not real cars, he rents exotic vehicles and parks them in the model home garages during open house events to create lifestyle aspiration. You detail a Lamborghini Urus, a Ferrari Roma, and a Porsche 911 Turbo S every other Friday. Tom pays $600 per session. It takes 3 hours. The cars are always clean because they barely move. It is essentially display maintenance. Easiest money you make. By October, commercial and fleet contracts represent 38% of your revenue. The mix is residential clients, recurring and one-time, 42%. Commercial or fleet contracts, 38%. Ceramic coating and premium services, 20%. Total monthly revenue is now averaging $43,000. Your best month was September at $48,200, driven by 5 ceramic coating jobs and a burst of pre-fall residential bookings from people who wanted their cars protected before the winter dust storm season. Annual run rate, $516,000. You started with a garden hose and a $200 detail in an apartment parking lot 2.5 years ago. The tax bill nearly kills you, not financially, emotionally. Your first full calendar year of business showed $387,000 in revenue and $142,000 in net operating income. After your salary of $84,000, you finally started paying yourself consistently in month 14. The remaining $58,000 in profit sat in the business account. You owe $52,800 in federal and state taxes. You did not make quarterly estimated payments because you did not know you were supposed to until your accountant, a CPA named Linda Cho, whom you found on Yelp and who charges $1,800 per year, explained it to you in February with the patience of someone who has had this conversation 1,000 times. The penalty for not making quarterly payments is $2,100. The total tax bill plus penalty, $54,900. Your business account has $61,000 in it. After taxes, you have $6,100 in operating reserve. That is less than 10 days of expenses. Linda Cho recommends you convert from an LLC, taxed as a sole proprietorship, to an S corporation. The explanation is simple. As an S corp, you pay yourself a reasonable salary and take the remaining profit as distributions, which are not subject to self-employment tax, 15.3%. On $142,000 of net income, with a salary of $84,000 and distributions of $58,000, the S Corp election saves you roughly $8,900 per year in self-employment tax. You file the S Corp election immediately. You set up quarterly estimated tax payments. You hire a bookkeeper for $400 per month to keep your books clean, so that next February, Linda Cho does not look at you with that patient exhaustion again. By the start of your third full year, the business looks like this. Revenue, $508,000. Monthly average, $42,300. Employees, 6. Derek, Javier, Maria, Calvin, Brandon, and a new hire named Alexis Torres. Vans, 3. Transit Connect, ProMaster City, 2nd Transit Connect. Routes, 3 daily, 6 days per week. Customers, 214 recurring, 143 residential, 71 commercial or fleet. Average ticket, $218, blended across all service types. Ceramic coating, $127,000. Annual revenue, you personally. Net operating income, $156,000. Owner's compensation, $96,000 salary plus $44,000 distributions equals $140,000. You are 30 years old. You have no college debt, paid off 18 months ago. A retirement account with $31,000 in it, SEP-IRA. A business savings account with $42,000, 62 days of operating expenses, getting closer to 90, and a personal savings account with $18,400. Your credit score has gone from 691 when you started to 758, and you are exhausted in a way that surprises you. The work is not physical anymore. You detail maybe 6 cars per week personally, all ceramic coatings or high-value corrections. The exhaustion is managerial. You are the scheduler, the complaint handler, the supply orderer, the invoice chaser, the Instagram content creator, the Google review responder, the equipment repair coordinator, the HR department, and the person who gets called at 6:30 a.m. when a van will not start. The Transit Connect's battery dies in January, and nobody except you knows where the jump pack is stored. You are working 50 to 55 hours per week, and fewer than 10 of those hours are spent doing the thing you love, making paint look perfect. The rest is operations, and operations is a polite word for putting out fires while answering emails. The question returns, louder now. Are you building a business, or are you just managing a very expensive job?
The answer comes from Derek, and it comes in the form of a resignation threat. "I need to talk to you about something," Derek says one evening after the team meeting. "I've been here 18 months. I'm making $20 an hour. I've had 2 job offers this month, one from a fixed location shop in Scottsdale offering $24, and one from a mobile outfit in Tempe offering $22 plus health insurance." He is not bluffing. You can tell because Derek does not bluff. The Marine Corps trained that out of him. You cannot lose Derek. He generates $12,000 to $14,000 in monthly revenue on the Paradise Valley route. He manages the 2 newer employees. He handles supply ordering on Tuesdays. He is the linchpin that lets you focus on ceramic coatings and business development. Replacing him would take 3 months of recruiting, training, and client relationship recovery. The lost revenue during that transition would be $30,000 to $40,000. You offer Derek a promotion, crew lead, salaried at $55,000 per year, effectively $26.44 per hour, plus 5% of the company's monthly net operating income as a performance bonus. At current profitability, that is an extra $650 per month, roughly $7,800 per year. Total compensation, $62,800. You also offer health insurance for the first time. You set up a QSEHRA, Qualified Small Employer Health Reimbursement Arrangement, which lets you reimburse employees for individual health insurance premiums up to $6,450 per year per employee. The cost to you for Derek alone is $537 per month, and you extend the benefit to all employees, which adds $3,222 per month to your overhead. Total new cost, Derek's raise plus company-wide QSEHRA comes to roughly $4,200 per month. Your net operating income drops from $13,000 to $8,800 per month. You feel the squeeze. But Derek stays, and something shifts. Derek begins thinking like an owner. He proposes route optimization changes that save 40 minutes per day on the Paradise Valley route. He creates a training manual for new hires that standardizes the first 2 weeks of onboarding. He fires Brandon, the Isaiah replacement, when Brandon shows up late 3 times in 1 month, handles the conversation himself, and has a replacement candidate lined up before you even know about the firing. Derek, with equity in the outcome, is a different animal than Derek with an hourly wage. You should have done this a year ago. The offer arrives by email on a Tuesday in September. A company called Valley Auto Aesthetics, a chain of 4 fixed-location detail shops in the Phoenix metro, wants to acquire Clean Slate Mobile Detail. The offer? $480,000 cash, plus a 2-year employment contract for you as Director of Mobile Operations at $110,000 per year. Total value of the deal over 2 years, $700,000. You read the email 3 times. You call Linda Cho. You call your parents. You do not call Derek, not yet, because you do not want his reaction to influence yours. $480,000. You started this business 31 months ago with $1,847 in equipment, a garden hose, and a next-door post from a guy named Phil Brewer. The idea that someone would write you a check for nearly $500,000 to buy what you built feels both validating and absurd. But then you run the numbers.
Your trailing 12-month net operating income is $156,000. At a 3 times multiple, standard for small service businesses with recurring revenue, the business is worth $468,000. Their offer of $480,000 is essentially 3.1 times, which is fair but not generous. If you keep the business and grow revenue to $700,000 next year, which is aggressive but not impossible given your current trajectory and the commercial pipeline Derek is developing, net income could reach $210,000. At 3 times, the business is worth $630,000. At 3.5 times, which is achievable if you can demonstrate strong recurring revenue and reduced owner dependence, $735,000. You are worth more next year than you are today, and the gap is widening. You decline the offer. Valley Auto Aesthetics CEO, a woman named Rachel Park, asks to meet for coffee. You meet her at a Dutch Bros on Scottsdale Road. She is sharp, direct, and 52 years old. "Why did you say no?" she asks. "Because you're buying a business that's growing 26% year over year, and you offered a price based on last year's numbers." Rachel smiles. "Okay, what would it take?" $750,000. And Derek keeps his job and his bonus structure. Rachel says she will think about it. She calls back a week later with a counteroffer. $620,000 plus the employment contract. You say no again. She says the offer stands for 6 months. You file it away. Maybe in 6 months, maybe never. But now you know something that matters more than the number. Someone with 4 detail shops and 20 years of industry experience looked at what you built and decided it was worth paying for. The valuation exercise changes how you think about every decision. Before Rachel Park's offer, you thought in terms of monthly revenue and monthly expenses. Now you think in terms of enterprise value. Every new recurring customer is not just $2,400 per year in revenue, it is $7,200 to $8,400 in added business value at a 3 times to 3.5 times multiple. Every improvement in customer retention adds thousands to the valuation. Every system you build that reduces owner dependence makes the business more saleable, even if you never sell. You are building equity, not just income. That is the difference between Ryan Matsuda, the detailer, and Ryan Matsuda, the business owner. And it took someone else putting a dollar sign on your company for you to see it clearly. You are sitting in your van, the original 2017 Transit Connect, the one with the slightly crooked shelving and the zip-tied electrical connections, parked outside a Starbucks on Southern Avenue in Mesa. It is 6:47 a.m. The sun is already bright enough to make the paint on the hood glow. You are drinking a cold brew that costs $5.75, which you would never have spent 3 years ago. Your phone is open to the Urable dashboard. Today's schedule. Derek has 5 appointments in Paradise Valley, including a ceramic coating prep. Javier has 6 in Gilbert. Maria and Calvin are splitting the dealer route and 3 residential jobs. Alexis is on training ride-along with Derek. You have 1 ceramic coating at 9 a.m. and a meeting with a fleet manager from a logistics company at 2 p.m. about a potential 28-vehicle monthly contract. 214 recurring customers, 6 employees, 3 vans,
$508,000 in revenue last year, $140,000 in personal compensation, a retirement account growing at $2,000 per month, a business that a competitor valued at nearly $500,000. And you still detail your own Tacoma every Sunday at 6 a.m. in the parking lot of the apartment complex you moved out of 14 months ago. You do not live there anymore. You have a 2-bedroom house now with a garage and a driveway and enough space to store product inventory without it taking over your kitchen table. But the old parking lot has better drainage, and the Sunday morning ritual is the thing that keeps the whole enterprise connected to its origin. Phil Brewer's business card is pinned to the corkboard above your desk. He is still a customer. He has referred 9 people to you over the years. You detail his truck every 6 weeks, a newer Tundra now, a 2025 model, because Phil trades up every 2 years. And he always says the same thing when he sees the finished product. "Man, you should do this for a living." You smile every time. Here is what nobody tells you about building a mobile detailing business. It is not about the equipment. It is not about the chemicals or the coating brands or the van build-out or the Instagram algorithm. It is about the willingness to stand in a driveway at dawn in 110-degree heat or 40-degree cold and make someone's car look better than they thought it could. And then do it again the next day and the day after that, until the repetition compounds into something that has value beyond the next appointment. You are the owner of a mobile detailing business, and that is your entire business. It is enough.